Happy 4th of July, everybody. On this day, I debated a lot while I was at work today about what I was going to watch when I get home, because 4th of July has a lot of options. Sandlot is kind of my go-to for 4th of July. I don't know why. I like it. It invokes a real sense of Americana for me. But I was really debating, I was talking to my mom, and my mom said, there's really only one correct answer for this, and it's Independence Day. And while I agreed with her, I thought that there were more options, but, I was sad, and I realized, I was like, I have yet to watch the sequel, Independence Day Resurgence. So I decided to watch the first one, and I'm going to shoot a little review of it right now, and then I'm going to watch the second one, and I'm going to shoot a little review of it, and I'm going to put this up, and it'll be both of them put together. So, let's go with Independence Day. Released in 1996, and this movie dominated the box office when it came out. It was fantastic. It was something that was completely unexpected. Alien invasion movies have been done before, obviously, lots of times, and obviously this has kind of a very War of the Worlds type feel to it. It's kind of War of the Worlds for the current generation, and I say that because I don't count the one that they actually did currently, the one with Tom Cruise. I actually have yet to see it, but I've heard that it wasn't great. But I mean, you can't beat a classic. And that's what this kind of was. It was kind of War of the Worlds for the current generation. That's what they were marketing it as. And, it had a lot of star power behind it. It had a great director behind it. It did very, very well in the box office. A lot of people have looked back on it and was like, well, it's a fun movie, but it's not that good. And in a lot of ways, I don't think it was supposed to be that great. It's Roland Emmerich, and Roland Emmerich doesn't ever go out. I don't think he ever goes out to make a movie that's gonna, win awards and stuff like that. His movies aren't to be taken as seriously as some other movies, and in that sense, this movie just nails that. I think that it is a very good movie. I think it has a lot of good stuff going for it. It has some strong performances by people involved. It has some very, very big talent in it. Talent for the time, and people that maybe whose careers were able to take off because of this movie. Especially Will Smith. Now, Will Smith was already known, obviously, for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but this was one of his first main movie roles where he really got to show what he's able to do. And Roland Emmerich directed it. I love Roland Emmerich. I love every movie that I've ever seen of his. His movies, if nothing else, they are going to be entertaining in some way. Even 2012, which was awful as a movie, it's still an entertaining movie. And I'm really getting off track. I don't mean to talk about Roland Emmerich. Let's talk about Independence Day. This movie starts you off with a bang. That's one of the things that I love about it. It doesn't mess around. Within the first 5 minutes, you've already seen the aliens pass by the moon, and then gotten confirmation from SETI that, hey, aliens are coming. They're at the moon. And then they let the White House know. It doesn't try to build up any sort of story. It just throws you right in. Hey, aliens are coming. They're going to invade. They're going to attack. Within the first 20 minutes, you know that. And then you just spend the rest of the movie is just attacks. We fight back. It's great. It doesn't try to give you anything deeper. It's just, hey, aliens are attacking. We're going to kick their ass. And I love it. It doesn't try to walk you through it or anything. It just throws you right in there. And it's like, here's the story. Take it. And it's a visually stunning movie. Roland Emmerich really knows how to make a movie look good. Even if it's not good, it's going to look great. He has a pretty commanding use of CGI, and which doesn't matter for this one as much because they did a lot of miniatures with this one. Everybody remembers the shot of the White House blowing up, or the shot of the Empire State Building blowing up, whichever one. One of the two that was always stuck out. For me, it was the White House blowing up with a helicopter in front of it. That was such an amazing scene. It looked so beautiful, and I remember when I saw it for the first time, I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they did that." Not that, "Oh, I can't believe they blew up in the White House in the movie." It was more, I can't believe they made it look that good. It was a commanding use of miniatures, which is something that not a lot of people are doing anymore. I mean, in the 90s, they still used them a lot. But now, it would all be CGI. And I'm a little bit nervous about watching the second one because I know it's probably all going to be CGI. There's so many shots that just really stand out that you're gonna remember for the rest of your life. I'm gonna remember this movie and seeing this movie for the first time for the rest of my life because it was something that nobody had ever really seen before. While it was a storyline that has been taken and done so many times in the past, it was a movie that stood out for what it was doing. And for that, I think it just really deserves all the respect. It came just at the right time when we needed something like this. We needed some sort of big action blockbuster. And it really helped reinvigorate the idea of the summer blockbuster. Because that's what this was. This was the truest definition of a summer blockbuster. It was a movie that was action, was visually stunning. Didn't necessarily have a super deep or strong storyline, but it didn't need to. It was go watch this, enjoy it, and you're gonna have fun. And in that sense, it's a fantastic movie. And I love it. It's my favorite Roland Emmerich movie, and it's one of my favorite disaster type movies. I know this isn't really a quote-unquote disaster movie, but it's more an invasion flick, but I always count it in with that. So anyway, that's all I really have to say for Independence Day. It's a great movie. I love it. If you haven't seen it in a long time, I suggest watching it. It surprisingly holds up very, very well. Now, I really hope that they didn't shit all over the legacy of this movie with Resurgence. But we're gonna see. I'm about to pop this sumbitch in. Alrighty. Independence Day Resurgence. Well, I think I'm just gonna have to start this off by saying I don't feel that this movie is as bad as a lot of people made it out to be. Is it as good as the original? In a lot of ways, no. Still an enjoyable movie. There were some problems with it, though. I think one of the biggest problems with this movie was that it was trying to do way too much. Especially in the beginning. Trying to set up what's happened in the intervening 20 years between the original and this one was just... God, there was so much they were throwing at you. They had bases up in space, on the moon, on Saturn, on all this stuff. There was a whole space military thing that they had. The idea that they were able to use the alien technology that they had learned about in the first one to better themselves, and the fact that they had created a worldwide peace, all this stuff, that I didn't mind as much. That was that was kind of accepted, but just way too much in the beginning. In the first 10-15 minutes, you're just inundated with information. You're like, what's going on? Who are these people? What's going on? Who are these people? Why are they doing this? Once the story actually started flowing a little bit more smoothly, it was better. A lot of it felt extraneous, especially some of the characters and some of the cameos in it from some of the cast of the original. It felt unnecessary. I believe the only two cast members that they really needed from the original was a necessary part of the movie was obviously Jeff Goldblum and then Bill Pullman. Those two returning as their respective roles felt right. It felt necessary. All the other ones, yeah, didn't really need it. You know, especially since two of the other ones that were there, they changed the actors. You know, a lot of people were complaining that, Will Smith wasn't able to come back. It made this movie terrible. It really didn't. I think that if he would have been back, if he would have come back for this movie, he would have been the main character. He probably would have stole the show. And I think that might have actually hurt the movie, because I think one of the big parts that I think made this movie work was that it was younger people that were taking the roles of the heroes, especially I can't remember the guy's name who played Dylan. He was playing Dylan Hiller, Will Smith's son from the first one. You know, it was a different actor. It wasn't Ross Bagley. It was a different actor. I even felt that he was a little bit unnecessary. I'm sorry. I don't think that his role was. I don't think his role was good enough to really be in it. If they wanted to pull him in, they should have made his role a little bit better. And to be perfectly honest, maybe found a little bit of a better actor, because he just felt very wooden. The performance just felt very, very wooden to me. But Liam Hemsworth, he was really the main star. He was the hero of this, and he did fantastic. You know, he played his role very, very well. It was an interesting enough character because they didn't give him any sort of real backstory. You know, he's just a pilot and a fighter. It worked, you know. And I've got to talk about the recasting of the President's Daughter. The recasting of Patricia Whitmore, the character. In the original, obviously played by Mae Whitman, very well, and they recast her in this. They brought her character back as a main character at that, but they did not bring Mae Whitman back to play her. Now, the girl who's playing her in this is somebody that I know and I like. Her name is Maika Monroe. She was in It Follows, and she was very, very good in that. She did pretty good in this, but I don't understand why they needed to recast her, especially since there's not really any information as to why. Mae Whitman has never commented on it. The only thing that I ever saw out was that the producers felt that she wasn't traditionally pretty enough to be in the role, which, if that's true, that really pisses me off for two reasons. A, that you would actually say that, and B, how could you not think that Mae Whitman is pretty? Mae Whitman is fucking beautiful. But whatever. I'm digressing a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm not done. Mae Whitman is beautiful and a talented actress. Why would you not cast her back to come back? If you don't think that she is traditionally pretty, then maybe you should fuck off and die. Okay, now I'm done with that tangent. But anyway, I felt that the storyline was actually kind of interesting in this. I like the fact that they were taking something that didn't need a sequel and being able to expand the story enough to be able to make a sequel and to be able to potentially apparently make another sequel after this. We'll see, since this one did so poorly. I think that people had really, really high expectations of this movie, and that's probably why it didn't do so well. And really, why would you have a high expectation of the sequel, of a 20-year-old sequel or a 20-year later sequel to Independence Day? Independence Day, as I said before, is a movie that I very much enjoy. Is it a fantastic movie? No, it's not. It's a Roland Emmerich movie. Roland Emmerich movies are basically in a lot of ways, B movies with a high budget. Um, this had an interesting story. I like the idea of a queen alien, and I liked that they built a little bit more on who they are and what they do, who these aliens are and what they do, and they set up enough for a sequel. I had a little bit of a problem with the ending where they just really, like, they had dropped enough subtle hints throughout the movie that the potential for a sequel was already being set up, the potential for more to the story. You really didn't need that very last ending. It was unnecessary. But again, that was kind of the name of the game in this movie, is that not that the movie itself was unnecessary, but a lot of the storylines were unnecessary. It just felt extraneous. It didn't feel bloated. The movie's only 2 hours long. It's shorter than the first one. But so much of it felt unnecessary. They could have easily trimmed 20 minutes off of this and it would have been fine. I really thought that I was going to be upset because I really thought that at one point they had ended it, and I was like, that was way too easy. But the ending battle is actually really good. It drags out. It's tense. It's exactly what it needs to be. I think that's really all I got to say. I mean, I kind of understand why some people wouldn't like it. I actually did. I enjoyed it a lot, especially for the first viewing. I mean, I really liked it a lot more than I thought that I would. Will probably watch it again. It's a little, like I said, you just have to get past that first 10-15 minutes where they're just throwing information at you left and right, because so much of it you really don't need to know. You just, once the actual main story starts, you can go with it pretty easily. It's fun, it's entertaining. The CGI surprisingly looks really good, like amazingly good. Well, maybe not amazing. Some of it was kind of iffy, but for the most part, it looks very, very good. And I was kind of concerned about that because, like I said before, I really like the use of miniatures, like they did in the first one. CGI looks very good. It's a good-looking movie. There's lots of action. There's lots of explosions. There's lots of kicking alien ass. And that is exactly what I wanted from this movie. I got what I wanted from this movie. I got an entertaining, fun movie. So, I don't see why all the hate. That's all I really got to say. I would recommend it. I really would. I would recommend it. Turn your brain off a little bit, though. You're not going to get... I mean, it's an alien movie where they're trying to kill aliens. What else are you going to expect? Can't expect Citizen Kane out of this. It's Roland Emmerich. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this little impromptu review, I'm trying to get back in the habit of doing these a little bit more, at least like once a month. I'm going to try to do one. So, hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed your July 4th, because it will be probably July 5th when I get this uploaded. So I hope you had fun. I hope you didn't drink too much. I hope you didn't blow any fingers off. See you next time.